Today, let's talk about a question most homeowners have when they're hiring a lawn service, and that is this safe for my pets and children for that matter? But for some reason, we always get the pets question. And so I want to answer that question today. I mean, you often wonder when you hire a lawn service, is the application and products they use safe for your pets and safe for the environment around your home? Now, in most states, in fact, I think almost every state in the United States, you have to be licensed and registered by the Department of Agriculture to treat lawns. Now, I can talk about Denver, Colorado, because that's where we operate and that's where we do our business. But we have to be licensed for what we do, and we have to be licensed that we use the products safely and appropriately in customers' yards, and that we're interacting with these products and applying these products safely for the environment and everybody else who's going to come in contact with them. So in most states, you have to be registered and trained by the Department of Agriculture. Don't hold me to this. I think it's every single state in the United States that has to be registered, but I'm going to say, just for general purpose, it's most states, but I really think it's almost every single state in the United States, but you can check on that. And that's great, because as lawn operator providers, we always get a kick out of it and laugh that you see the homeowner that's out in the front yard spraying the weeds or the weeds in his lawn, and he's in flip-flops and he's in shorts, which is a huge no-no in our industry. I mean, the people applying the product need to be covered with long-sleeve t-shirts. They need to have waterproof shoes on. There's no way that a professional company that's licensed could ever go out and spray in flip-flops and shorts. It just, they wouldn't have it. So this question is always asked, and this is a very interesting area. It's a gray area. It's not black, it's not white, but we always get the question, what's organic versus natural or even synthetic fertilizer? And there's a difference between all those. We have the same problem when we're buying foods at the grocery store. What's natural foods? What's organic foods? Because they're completely different. They actually have different definitions, and it's so confusing. I don't know why we all try to confuse the consumer with organic and natural and those type of things. But let me give you some general guidelines. So an organic fertilizer needs to be 100% clean and organic, meaning nothing's added to it. Think of it like whole foods. An organic apple is generally not sprayed by pesticides, and it's a whole food. There's nothing added to it at all. It's just an apple. That doesn't mean things can't necessarily be added to it, but the things that are added to it cannot be processed. So some examples of organic fertilizer could be chicken waste or sheep waste or things like that. It's actually very, very difficult and hard to find 100% organic fertilizer. To be honest, they don't spread well. The technology is not there yet for these organic fertilizers. They don't spread well. They don't have high nitrogen in them. It takes them a long time to actually do their thing. It means it takes them a long time for you as a homeowner to see the results. So you don't see a lot of companies. There are some, but you don't see a lot of companies that are doing a straight organic program. So you have organic, and then what's natural? Well, natural fertilizers are generally fertilizers where the raw materials come from a natural state. It could be nitrogen, phosphate, potassium, those types of things. And not to confuse you anymore, but we'll generally in the industry process these fertilizers and make these little balls that you see called prills, and those are what we call synthetic fertilizer. So we would consider that more of a synthetic blend, for example. And then a blend that's a little more mixed with things but processed would be a natural blend. And then something that's 100% organic, meaning straight chicken feed or straight organic material from the earth, that would be in the category of an organic blend. So there's three kind of scenarios or three levels there. Believe me, It's completely confusing to anyone purchasing it. And so I think what people really want to know is this, when they ask the question, is this safe for my pet? Is that, is my pet going to be harmed? Is he going to be protected in the long run? You're going to be here for many summers probably. Is it safe for my pets and kids? And so the thing you have to worry about generally is not the fertilizer. It's any pesticide which is actually in a fertilizer or a pesticide that's being used to spray the weeds. So let me give some examples of things that could be in the fertilizer. In the springtime, you might have pre-emergent. Well, that's a pest you're trying to kill, which is crabgrass. And so that is technically a chemical and it needs to be handled within a specific set of instructions. And generally there's going to be rules for that when it's applied. Should you water it in? How long do you have to wait before you can go out there and touch and play in the lawn? So pre-emergent is an example. Grub control is an example. If you're going to treat for grubs, that could be mixed into fertilizer, or any other types of lawn or insect disease type of control that you're going to use. Those are generally a pesticide. So those need to be labeled and talked about. Generally they're okay for your pet, except you want to make sure that your pet doesn't enter the lawn until it's required to. So you may have to water it in first. Just follow the instructions from the lawn care provider so you make sure that your pet is going to be safe when he enters that area that has been treated with these types of insect controls, in this example, or pesticide controls. So generally, when we're fertilizing throughout the season, we're mostly putting down a natural fertilizer. And the thing that you should only have a concern about is the weed control, because the weed control is a pesticide and that's being sprayed to kill the weed. So generally, there's requirements depending on what's being put down in the yard, that you shouldn't go into the yard for example, I'm just making this up because the label is the law and you need to follow the label as an operator and as an applicator. So whatever the label says is what we're going to communicate to the customer. So for example, if the label says until it's dry in 30 minutes, we're going to put on the notes, don't enter the yard until 30 minutes. And so with that in mind, there's only a few other ways to kill weeds besides spraying them. There's the mechanical ways, which is picking them and hand pulling them with your hand and physically doing it. There's a way to they have this item which you can actually use hot steam and spray the weed and kill it. Not many people do that. We have a city in our area called Boulder, which some companies do that up there, but it's very expensive and it's very, very uncommon to do, but it is done. Some people have this concoction they mix up with vinegar and water and spray it on the weed and kill the weed. Technically, by the Department of Ag standards, that's still a pesticide because you're mixing something to spray the weeds, so that needs to be monitored. So there's other things you can do, but for the most part, almost every single lawn care company, if you're going to control weeds, they're going to have to spray it. So I wouldn't worry about it, but you definitely want to follow the instructions of the lawn care company. When I say don't worry about it, I don't mean don't be concerned at all, but follow the instructions on the label if you're applying it yourself. And as we're talking about here, if your lawn care company is applying it, make sure you follow the instructions of the lawn care company. They're required by law, we're required by law to give these instructions to people. So what I'm really telling you here is that generally, if you're using a natural fertilizer, or organic fertilizer, or even a synthetic fertilizer, those aren't harmful to folks really at all. What's harmful, what can be harmful, is the weed control which is sprayed, or the grub control, or the pre-emergent, those types of things. So there's only certain things that are put down that you need to really, really pay attention to. So, no one wants crazy stuff from their lawn. Generally, lawn care companies, the stuff they're putting down is very minor. It's very small amounts. And so where you should have some security as a homeowner is that Most every company that's doing it should be licensed with the Department of Agriculture. If you're worried about it and you don't think they are, you should check. And by doing that, they're required by law to handle all these things and perform this service in a safe manner that's safe for you and your family. So you want to keep that in mind. When your lawn care company comes out to do your application, the best practice is to put your dog away when they're out there treating the lawn. Just have them put away until you get the instructions on the door. It's the safest thing that you can do always. And then you're going to get a sign in your front yard. Most states, I think almost every state again, requires a notification of what was done for that day and signage. So signage should be put in the front yard, and the sign is put somewhere where it's easily seen by someone walking by, or as you as the homeowner coming home in the evening or the afternoon or any time of day for that matter, and you can see this sign and see what was done. So is it safe for pets to have a lawn care company come do your lawn? Yes, if you follow the instructions and you hire a reputable and proper company to apply this that's licensed with the Department of Agriculture in your state. Many lawn care companies easily say, yes, it's safe for pets without explaining the fertilizer they're putting down and the area that they're concerned with or any of that type of thing. You just call a lawn care company on the phone and you ask most companies, because we've done this, is it safe for pets? Yes. Are you using a organic fertilizer? Yes. No, that's not true. We see it all the time. They're using generally a natural fertilizer, and if they're spraying for weeds, you need to make sure you handle that in a proper manner so it's safe for pets there. So even lawn care operators, I'm not pointing fingers at anyone, but if you call them, it's so convoluted and so cloudy as far as a gray area that everyone wants to say, yes, it's safe for pets, just use us, you're going to be fine. Well, it is if it's done properly and you follow the instructions on the label, and those instructions are relayed to the customer with what to do, what was put down, the amount it was put down, and proper signage. So I hope this is helpful for you, because it's a question that we get all the time: is what you do, is the product you're putting down safe for pets? So next time you ask that question, ask your lawn care company some specific questions. Is this 100% organic? Is this a natural fertilizer? Are you doing weed control? And if you do, what's the instructions for me letting my pet in the backyard, or the instructions of getting back on the yard there? So if you truly want a 100% organic program, is what you're asking for is just to put down fertilizer and don't spray the weeds. And so as long as you know what you're getting, that's okay. But if you want a 100% organic program, you're going to have weed problems. It's inevitable. You're going to have to pull them by hand or do something like that, or just deal with them, because you can't have an organic program, 100% organic program, without spraying for weeds. It's almost impossible unless the company comes by and picks them by hand. And I promise you, they're probably not going to do that. So just keep that in mind. And we found, as most customers anyways, they actually sign up for lawn care services because they don't want the weeds. It's the number one thing they want done. And if it's not done properly, they will cancel. You guys will cancel on us if we don't take care of your weeds, because you don't want those weeds in your yards. They're considered quote unquote a pest. And so you want them taken care of. And so it's one of the main things that lawn companies do, is take care of those weeds. Also, another little tip, our techs do this when they see dog bowls sitting around, but if you have a dog bowl in the backyard, it's a great idea just to empty out the water, empty out the food, turn it upside down. What our techs do is, if they see a dog bowl's water in the backyard, just to be safe, they empty out the water and cover up the food so nothing gets in there, and make sure that everything's safe while we're fertilizing there. So that's one tip that you can do if you just had a company come by and fertilize your lawn. Give your dog fresh water, empty it out, and start from scratch. Is it safe to have your lawn fertilized by a lawn care company? You now have the facts. You be the judge. Check out the company. Make sure they're reputable. Make sure they're licensed with the Department of Agriculture, and you will be ahead of almost everybody else that's researching this topic. I tell you what, there's nothing better than a green, weed-free lawn. So I hope this was helpful. We'll see you soon. Until next time, have a green day.